Akanthos was an ancient Greek city on the Athos peninsula. It was located near the modern town of Ierissos on the northeast side of Akti, on the most eastern peninsula of Chalcidice.Strabo and Ptolemy erroneously place Acanthus on the Singitic Gulf, but there can be no doubt that the town was on the Strymonian Gulf, as is stated by Herodotus and other authorities. The error may have perhaps arisen from the territory of Acanthus having stretched as far as the Singitic Gulf. The name of the ancient city is due to the thorny nature of the area and to the thorny nature of the town's foundation. History. Foundation. It was founded by 7th century BC by colonists from Andros, according to Thucydides. Plutarch, on the other hand, referred to it as a mixed colony of Andrians and local Chalcidians, which was founded on the coast of Akanthos, in place of a pre-existing civilization. He writes that settlers from Andros and Chalci arrived on the shore at the same time. The natives of Acanthus, seeing the crowd of settlers, became frightened and left the city. The settlers sent an explorer each to see what had happened and, as they approached the city and realized it was empty, ran to be the first to take over the land for the fellow countrymen. The Chalcidian was the fastest, but the Andrian, seeing he was losing, stopped and threw his spear on the wall's gate before his opponent arrived. A court case followed, which was won by the Andrians, because, as they protested, they had just about taken over the city first. Growth. Its growth during the Archaic period is reflected by the wide circulation of its currency, first minted around 530 BCE with the distinctive emblem of a lion killing a bull, perhaps linked to Herodotus's account that on the march of Xerxes from Acanthus to Therma, lions seized the camels which carried the provisions. At least 92 different types of coins have been found. Its economic resources emanated from the mining and wood from the nearby forests, but also through agricultural and vegetable goods that were transported through the sizable harbor. The first historical reference in Thucydides from mid-5th century BCE connects the city with the Persian Wars, during which the townsfolk officially welcomed the Persians and willingly helped with the digging of the canal for Xerxes, 480 BC, for which Xerxes richly rewarded them. They declared one of his relatives who died in the area, named Artahe, a hero, and willingly took part in the expedition against Greece. After the Persian Wars, Acanthus became a member of the Athenian alliance, paying tribute of 3 talents. In 424 BCE, after a short siege and oratory by Brasidas, the city was convinced to ally itself with the Spartans, although Thucydides remarks the greater likelihood that it was the threat to destroy the profitable vineyards, rather than Brasidas's rhetoric, that truly moved the Acanthians. Situation. 4th to 2nd centuries BCE. In the initial phase of the establishment of the Chalcidice League, it was mainly smaller towns and cities in Macedonia that were enrolled. Only when it was firmly established was an offer made to Acanthus. When this was refused, a second offer was made, but with the threat that force would be used should Acanthus refuse to join the federation. The townsfolk refused to join it, in part due to the old quarrel with the Chalcidians. Under threat from the Chalcidians, Acanthus called in Sparta's help, which came in 382 BC when the Spartans and Acanthians captured and destroyed Akanthos and the alliance, at least temporarily. Acanthus staying out of the alliance meant that in 350 BC, when it was conquered by Philip II of Macedon, it was not destroyed. Later it was incorporated to the region of Oranopolis, a new city that was founded by Alexarchos in the isthmus between the Strymonian and the Singitic Gulfs. According to Livy, Acanthus was attacked by a Roman Pergamene fleet in 199 BC during the Second Macedonian War and then besieged, captured and sacked by Rome in 168 BC. Roman period. The Romans later exploited all the natural sources of wealth in its harbor, and the town continued through the Roman and Byzantine period. In Roman times is attested epigraphically the existence of a Roman community attracted mainly by the rich mines of this region around the start of the 1st century. Acanthus's renaming began with its name translated into the Latin Ierissos, from which was derived its Byzantine and modern name of Ierissos or Erissos. Description: the ancient city extended along a sheer hillside, about 0.6 kilometers southeast of modern Ierissos. Remains of walls, an impressive citadel, and Hellenistic buildings survive, along with a deserted Byzantine church and two post-Byzantine churches. Necropolis. The city itself has not been excavated, but the necropolis has, starting in 1973, since when more than 600 graves have been discovered. Particularly extensive is the site of the cemetery along the seaside of Ierissos. The graveyard seems to have been used for a long period, starting from the Archaic period right up to Roman times and later, perhaps with certain intervals in between each period of time. The graves occur in at least 2 or 3 layers, either shallow in the earth, or deeper in the sand, usually parallel with the line of the seashore. The orientation of the dead is, in most cases, southeast. In Acanthus, both adults and children were buried in the same area according to ancient burial customs. Various grave types have been discovered. Some are simple dirt holes, others coated with clay or undecorated or painted clay urns. Yet others are shaped like boxes, covered in clay, jug-shaped. The grave goods, usually placed in the graves next to or above the dead, are varied and sometimes in earthen containers. Often they were personal or related to their occupation. Some of the goods are locally made, whilst some are from other commercial centers and workshops of the ancient world. Burial customs, and similar types of graves which have been discovered, resemble many other cemeteries in other ancient cities of Macedonia and Thrace, revealing the connection through trade to so much of the Greek-speaking East as well as to other well-known centers of the Peloponnesus.